Greetings, ladies and gentlefish, and welcome back to another pair of subscriber replays. This time, we are tuning into a couple of games courtesy of Lil Nas X. You guys won't remember that name, will you? And there's no reason that you should. What about if I said this was Polestar? Some of you might now go, oh. So this is Polestar. He just presumably changed his in-game name again, if memory serves. But either way, we've got a couple of games from him, today. Kicking off proceedings in the Tier 7 American Premium Heavy Tank, the Captured King Tiger. This might have caught some of your attention. This is a bit of a controversial tank at the moment, to be honest, because this was a reward for linking your Wargaming World of Tanks account with your Twitch Prime account, if you had one. And the reason it's controversial is that Wargaming, in their infinite wisdom, decided that this wouldn't be a permanent thing. This was going to be a temporary arrangement. The thing is, there are a number of people complaining that they didn't communicate that very well, because, well, they didn't, in my humble opinion. I think, in this case, I don't think it's an instance of people whining unnecessarily or something. I think this is a genuine grievance, and I think they have a point, if I'm being honest. So essentially, if you saw, the right World of Tanks webpage at the right time, and it was the right day of the month, and your favourite colour was blue, then yes, you would be aware that this was only ever supposed to be a temporary arrangement, not a permanent arrangement. But if that wasn't the case, then you wouldn't have been aware, and now that Wargaming have decided to... Well, so they decided that if you had this tank, you no longer do, it has been removed, and if you want to have this tank, having previously owned it, or having previously had access to it, perhaps I should say, as part of Twitch Prime, then you now need to buy it. Which, with many people, went down a bit like a lead balloon. And I must admit, I'm on the side of the people who think that's nonsense. I think if Wargaming wanted to make it clear this was a temporary thing, what they should have done is just, in the garage, had rental over the tank. The same as they do for other machines that you have access to temporarily, but they didn't. So, them's the breaks. Anyway, I'll stop complaining. What is it you actually get with this thing? Well, essentially, it's the German Tier 8 heavy tank, dropped down to Tier 7, with an American flag on it, although you can see Lil Nas here is using a different camo job. But and you might then be thinking, that sounds a bit good, you've got a Tier 8 at Tier 7. Well, yes, but it has its hit points slashed as a result, and it doesn't have the top gun from the German Tiger II at Tier 8, which I would argue is probably the best thing about the Tiger II. Its gun is quite tasty. Instead, you get the L71 88mm gun, the long 88, that is the historical gun for the Tiger II, or King Tiger, and is the gun you use on the Tiger I. Now, if you compare this thing to the Tiger I, even though it's in a different tech tree, because it's really a German tank just in the American tech tree, well, not even tech tree, but you know what I mean, then basically what you're doing is you're trading away some of the hit points, because a Tiger gets 1500 hit points and this thing has 1300. So you trade away some of the hit points in exchange for better armour. I mean, this is the armour profile essentially of a Tiger II. But you don't get quite as good a gun as you do on the Tiger I. It's the same gun, but I believe gets slightly worse rate of fire, maybe, and I think maybe a worse aim time or something like that. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. So essentially you're trading away hit points and gun performance in exchange for armour. And it's not that this thing doesn't get many hit points. 1300 is still a very respectable slab to have on a Tier 7, but that's essentially what you're getting. So let's actually have a look at the game that's going on, because already Lil Nas here has racked up 1900 damage, 2.35k blocked by his armor, 430 assistance. Like, if he were to die here, this has still been a pretty good game. Basically, playing this position here on Zyanki, I've probably horribly butchered that because, well, I'm British and I can't pronounce that. Sorry. Stereotypes and whatnot. This particular occasion, I appear to be living up to them. So this is a tier 8 match, in case you hadn't noticed. So it's not as if this is just Lil Nas bullying tier 5 tanks or something in his tier 7. This is, you know, proper matchmaking, so to speak. Interestingly, the SU-152 on the friendly team appears to have racked up a friendly kill. Now, I thought this replay was from after they removed team damage. Maybe it's not. I can't remember when they did remove team damage. Maybe it was from when team damage was still a thing. Either way. Scoreline is... Oh, hello, Mr. IS. Oh, that could have penetrated, but it didn't. But he's going to beat the reload on this IS any day of the week and twice on a Sunday. Goodbye. Scoreline's now 11-6, by the way, in case you weren't paying attention. And aim, and aim, and aim, and pew! So... yeah, I mean, it looks like hopefully this game should go Lil Nas's team's way. Goodbye, Mr. Hummel. Always satisfying when you get kills on artillery. I would like to point out Lil Nas here has fired a fair few APCR rounds, which I don't think are really necessary. His regular penetration is around the 200 mark, 203, which, to be honest, even against T-32 is perfectly sufficient. There was nothing on the enemy team that required that higher penetration, but then again, these days Polestar or Lil Nas is one of the dingers, so they probably have like a premium ammunition usage quota or something. You know, you get kicked out if you haven't supplied a good enough fish, and if you don't fire a sufficient amount of premium ammunition in a game, so I'm not going to be too harsh on him for that. One guy left on the enemy team, it's just a Hell Kitty. See if we can do something about this Hell Kitty. We know roughly where he is. Now, Lil Nas here is a one-shot for the aforementioned feline of death, but, well, he's got some armour to work with. And the Hell Kitty is going to struggle to penetrate Lil Nas here unless the guy loads APCR or gets a little bit lucky with his shots or catches Lil Nas in the side, which he could have done there, but he actually went for a shot on the regular Tiger. Oh, that one went wide. Can Lil Nas pick up the kill? Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. No! Who Dares Wins, how appropriately named, picks up the kill there in his regular Tech Tree German Tier 7 heavy tank. The Tiger 1. So, let's have a look at the post-game stats. As has been aptly pointed out to me now, of course, Who Dares Wins should really have named his account Who Dares Wins, but go figure, he didn't, and to be fair, maybe the Swedes weren't in the game when he created his account. Anyway, let's have a look at the results for this one. So, we've got Ace Tanker, Bruiser, Fire for Effect, Shellproof, Confederate, Steel Wall, and High Caliber medals there. Top of his team, pretty nice result, 3.4k damage done. Remembering that King Tiger here is only tier 7, not tier 8. 2 kills, 1,422 base experience. It's a pretty good result. And if we have a look at how other members of the team did, the Carnarvon on the friendly team there also had a good result, basically 3k damage there from him. Only really the Scorpion on the enemy team did a decent amount. Everything else was deeply underwhelming from people, which is a bit of a shame for them, but hey-ho, worked out there for Lil Nas. 27 shots fired, 21 hits, 16 pens for that damage count. Most of it was from pretty close range. 3,300 damage blocked by his armour, which is quite tasty. 1 enemy vehicle spotted, 8 damage, 2 destroyed, 1,575 assistance damage, and 45,000 credit profit, even though he spent almost 50,000 credits on ammunition. That was a pretty good game. He's got another one for us though, so let's have a look at that as well. So, in this game we've jumped up a tier to tier 8. This is the AMX 5100, the original tier 8 French heavy tank. I say the original one because, of course, these days there are two, ignoring the premiums, like we're talking about just tech tree tanks here. You've got the original one, the AMX 5100 here, which doesn't play like a conventional heavy tank, as it packs this mean 100mm autoloader that takes forever to load. And then you have a more conventional heavy tank line, culminating in, what is it, the AMX M454 or something? Anyway, we're in the 5100 here. This is a tier 8 match, and there are tier 6s. So this could be a little bit brutal. And we're here on Pilsen. And I wanted to show this game because, well, frankly, we haven't seen, or I haven't shown, the AMX 5100 in quite a little while, and I thought it would be nice to reacquaint ourselves with the thing. And in case you hadn't noticed and weren't aware, the gun has only just loaded after 58 seconds. So this thing packs a 100mm autoloader with 300 alpha damage per shot, 6 rounds in the magazine, giving this tank a clip damage of 1,800, which is a lot. It would be a lot at tier 10, but it's ridiculous at tier 8. However, it takes almost a full minute to load that magazine. The 5100 has always been a tank of extremes, and whilst it has a lot of potential and I had good results in mine, generally speaking, it's not actually a tank that I would choose to keep. I would rather have a smaller clip size, but a faster reload, which would be a little bit more forgiving. So, kicking off proceedings right away, we've got an adorable little tier 6 here, KV-85. Haven't been able to pick up the kill on that guy yet, though we can now. That's half the magazine out. 3 shots, so that's 900 average damage, still available to put in. And if we can put them into one of these tier 8s, that would shave off most of the health that that tank has. IS-3 coming around this corner as well. This should mean, with any luck, that that Emil suddenly finds himself in a whole world of trouble. Unfortunately, that first shot bounces. I must confess, I wouldn't have auto-aimed these shots, because then you're aiming at the centre of mass, and whilst the hull on the Emil-1 is soft, the turret is not. So I would have aimed those shots manually. So kind of a disappointing first mag, if we're going to be honest. 618 damage, 1 kill, a little bit of assistance for knocking off a couple of tracks. I mean, don't get me wrong, not completely terrible, but when you have almost a full minute to reload this magazine, you really want to make your shots count, and you want to be making the enemy regret letting you have the reload every single time you have shots available. 53 TP here, this guy's going to have a bad day, but yeah, that shot bounced there, that one went in. Actually bouncing around there, which is a little bit unusual. Aim these shots properly, there we go. 4 shots into that guy. Unfortunately, it took 4 shots instead of the 2 it should have done, meaning that Naz here only actually has 2 shots left in the mag, one of which missed there, but the Clubstrea Waffenträger, the tier 7 premium waffle thrower, actually dies anyway. So it wasn't the end of the world, and it's a bit of a trade-off because this is a French tank with a French gun and French aim time. So if you want to fully aim your shots, you tend to find yourself aiming for a little while, and I can understand Lil Naz here trying to keep the tank moving in order to make it harder for enemy to get effective shots on him. And certainly, you know, he's got 2 marks of excellence on the gun barrel of this tank. He's definitely no slouch at playing this thing. Anyway, T44, T20 Emil-1, all spotted, or last spotted over on this flank. Little Naz is trying something. He actually gets spotted here. Who do we think that could be? Probably one of the light tanks? I mean, it would seem a little bit odd if the T20 got that spot. We know the Panther's on the other flank, and mediums and heavies. I'm thinking that might be the light tank. Ooh, this is a T44 who's going to have a bad day. I'm not really sure what this guy thinks he's doing, but he's dead. The Emil-1 puts 1 shot in, but, I mean, Yeah, that's just going to end poorly for him, wasn't it? Let's be honest. And only one shell left in the magazine. Probably going to have to relocate to get anywhere else. So Lil Nas goes for the reload. And actually, as we can see there, the AMD 178B has been spotted up in K1. So it was most likely he who got the spots on Lil Nas here. So how did I guess it was that light tank? Well, just have a look at what's been spotted and what hasn't on the map so far. The team was made up of a bunch of medium tanks with an SPG. He's probably not the one doing the spotting. A heavy tank. We kind of knew where he was, or where he was last spotted at least, so it's probably not him. And a light tank. Yeah, that light tank's probably the one. So here, auto-aiming against the T-20 is absolutely tickety-boo. One more shot, there we go. That kills the T-20. And there's only artillery and this AMD 178B remaining. There goes the artillery. And Lil Nas is just going to come up here and try and get the kill. There's no point going for a reload because the reload on his magazine would be far too long in order to keep him relevant in this game, and he'd just miss any damage on this AMD anyway, and actually manages to pick up the kill with a nice little ram there. Those French wheeled light tanks weigh pretty much nothing. And there we go. That was the match. A nice little quick one for you there, and he even bounced a few shots with the armour on this tank. You should not expect that to happen as a general rule of thumb. The armour on this tank is very thin, but is sloped in places, so you can get the odd lucky bounce here or there. Just, like I say, don't rely on it. So, that was enough for an ace tanker, bruiser, duelist, fire for effect, high caliber medals, and of course, Top Gun for managing to pick up 6 kills, the sick, that last little cheeky ram kill on the AMD. 3,781 damage done, 6 kills, 1,291 base experience. Shout out on the friendly team should also go to Chromosome in his Progetto there. 3,205 damage from him, 5 kills, over 1,000 base experience. Essentially, those two carried their team, and that's where you like to see, I suppose, your top tier tanks, especially when they're autoloaders and capable of packing out a lot of damage, like at the top of their team where they should be. Jolly good. If we have a look at the enemy team, commiserations to that Emil one. He actually pumped out 2.7k damage and 3 kills before going down. Just wasn't enough to drag his team across the finishing line. And the enemy artillery actually did alright as well. 1.7k from him. And to be fair, the P43 Bis, pretty sure that's a tier 6. Boris Bum Bum is a great name, just for the record, as he managed 1.3k damage as well. Having a look at the detailed rundown of that, 21 shots fired, 20 hits, 15 penetrations for that damage count. 7 hits received, 3 penetrated, 4 did not, which was somewhat lucky. 790 damage blocked by Lil Nas's armour there. 7 enemy vehicles damaged, 6 destroyed, 703 assistance damage for mainly getting some tracking, I believe it was. And the AMX 5100 gets pretty decent penetration on its standard AP rounds. I believe it's 232 off the top of my head. Combine that with the fact that, you know, Lil Nas there was top tier, there were tier 6s to shoot at, no need to fire any premium ammunition, wouldn't have made the blindest ape the difference. So, you know, 2,000 credit profit with a premium account there. And clearly something's going on to give Lil Nas more XP. That was quite a lot of experience from the game. Nicely done. So, there we go. Couple of games there from a player we haven't seen in a while. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, there should be various things for you to click on popping up on the screen, be they playlists or links to other videos or links to subscribe or whatever. If you are interested in supporting me on Patreon, there should be a link in the description. And if you want to submit your own replays to me, then upload them to whatreplays.com and submit them on the Discord channel, and I shall take a look. I hope you guys are having fun, staying safe, all that jazz, and I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao, ciao.